Okay. So, uh, the theme that we're going to be looking at is comes. Well, let me go to the next image. So this is an image of mine,
Hmm.
and but the theme is to sleep, perchance to dream. And there is an exhibit which has been on for a while in Paris, um, which is based on this theme of dreams and sleep. And I was even tempted to go there to see this exhibit. It's, I think it's still on. It's in May at the Marmottan Museum, Marmatton. It's an interesting museum. It's a museum that has a very large collection of Monet. It's a little off the beaten track, but it has an amazing Monet collection. And they must have taken a few years to put this exhibit on. The only reason I know about it is that someone on Facebook posted some information on the exhibit. But more than that, this person, I think his name is Mark Rosenthal, he's an artist. He took about 60 um, JPEGs of different pictures, and they were very, very interesting. And I thought I should go and see it. That turned out to be not in the cards. And then it occurred to me that it would make an interesting theme. So I thought, uh, well, half of the pictures that I selected approximately are from that exhibit, and half of the pictures are my choices. Okay, some of my choices are my own pictures, and many of them are not my own, but of many, many different artists. So when I was putting these images together, I had a realization, which was that this theme is an important theme for me. And I mean, I should have realized this before, but sometimes what's right in front of you, you don't see. But so anyway, easily a whole bunch of these images are my own because it fits right into this idea. So so I thought I would start with this image, and there are two things I'd like to read. And many of the images I really have very little to say about. I just want you to see the image. Um, also, um, so we're going to do this for two classes, and um, and then I'm going to ask you to write for the third class, same kind of essay. So um, in the essay, I'll give you various topics. When I send the recording later today or tomorrow, I'll give you various topics, but I will also have the images all together for the whole class. So that's really good. It's a nice package for you to have. So in the last few months, there's a whole bunch of things that have been happening. And sometimes when I go to sleep, I look up at the ceiling and I see circles rotating around on the ceiling. And in each circle, there's a theme. And in each, so there may be 10 or 15 of them, and they're all rotating around. And as I go to sleep, all the circles start bouncing into one another. Anyway, so one of the circles had to do with this theme. And so it struck me as interesting for me and hopefully as a theme for you. I hope. I believe you'll find it interesting. So this drawing is a very large drawing called a dream play. And when I was at the beginning of the drawing, oh, before that, the drawing is based on an image I saw in the New York Times, and this is the image. Oh, no, no, not that. Oh. Oh. Uh, I'll send that. I'll send that. But it's an
Is
image.
it before this one?
Oh, maybe no.
Nope. Okay.
Um, I forgot to put that on, but it's on the file that you're going to get. So it's an image of. It's a photograph that I saw in the New York Times, and it shows people um, in Iran, which is way before it was in the news with this news, but in Iran, and to the left, you see a woman whose face is lit up, and near her are people walking or standing nearby. So she's on the far left, and then the people go through the middle and to the far right. And it doesn't look like a photograph in a newspaper. It looks different, more mysterious. Usually, photographs in newspapers are very flat and factual. This has something that reverberates, more depth or whatever, and more art. And so I thought that when I saw the photograph, I thought I could be that woman with the light on my head. And then the other people could be people coming and going, alive and not alive, as if in a dream, alive and not alive, as if in a dream. So a friend of mine was listening to what I had to say about this. And the friend said, um, you should read um, a play by Strindberg called A Dream Play. And the Strindberg's introduction to a dream play, especially. So in Strindberg writes the epigraph that introduces his play. So this is the epigraph. I may have read this to you at one other point before, but just bear with me. Um, so this is Strindberg's language, not mine, but Strindberg. It's extremely well written. Anything can happen. Everything is possible and probable. Time and space do not exist. On a slight groundwork of reality, imagination spins and weaves new patterns made up of memories, experiences, unfettered fancies, absurdities, and improvisations. The characters are split, double, and multiply. They evaporate, crystallize, scatter, and converge. But a single consciousness holds sway over them all, that of the dreamer. So
Mm.
it's a brilliant piece of writing, and in my image, what I imagined was a visitation by all of these people, alive, not alive, younger, older,
Mhm.
in the same space, but not possible to be in that same space. So, for example, my daughter on the very far right, about 9, and Renee, about the same age, 9, as my daughter, about a third of the way in on the right. And then Renee, who is just married to me, about 21, the second character. So this is clearly a dream space.
Mhm.
And so I thought this could be an interesting introduction to this theme.
Mhm.
And then today, I looked up to sleep, perchance to dream. And there was a very interesting 2 paragraphs that I found, and I'd like to read those to you. To sleep, perchance to dream, is one of the many often quoted lines in Hamlet's To Be or Not to Be, soliloquy in Act 3, Scene 1 of Shakespeare's play Hamlet. The soliloquy is a logical expression of Hamlet's thinking on the subject of death. He thinks about all the inconvenient, tedious, and unpleasant things about life and fantasizes about ending them with a long, sharp needle in the heart or brain. He does not specify which. It would be so wonderful just to go to sleep, by which he means to die, and to drift into unconsciousness, as we do when we place our heads on our pillow at the end of a day. Um, so, anyway, I thought that would be the introduction, and I'm going to show you a bunch of images uh, now. Um,
Simon, just a quick question about that, your painting.
yeah,
The one figure with their back to us stands out to me. Do you recall any thinking around that when you painted this?
uh, this is Len, right?
Yeah.
I recognize your voice.
Very
Okay.
good.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. I
Okay.
should have I should
Uh,
have raised my hand.
I could say a lot about this whole uh, picture. I I was unsure about including it, and I was unsure about opening the whole evening up with this. Um, but the figure with his back to me is my father, and the 3 women, main women in it, are my mother,
Mhm.
of 3 different points in her life.
Mhm.
In the first one, just arriving from Russia with a kind of peasant Russian uh, top on, to our left of that one, my mother just about to pass away and leave our world. Then to the right, my mother dancing at my wedding.
Mhm.
Um, the images behind are kind of like scrims of areas that we lived in uh, throughout my married life. The
Mhm.
far right is an image near Brooklyn College, where Nostrand and Flatbush Avenue meet. Next to the left of that are wallpaper connected with a party that Renee went to. Next to that, a gazebo, which had to do with a country house that my grandmother had. And next to that, 2 little boys looking out a window, uh,
Mhm.
which I like a lot to stand by a window and look out. Um, I've always liked that. And I think the window is part of the work that I do.
Mhm.
Len, is that okay?
Yeah, that's plenty.
Okay, okay. Let's go on. Let's go on. Okay. So the some of the pictures I have dates for the artists, and some of them I don't. So just bear with me. But so this is a painting of Baltus, Balthus, and he is not alive, died not too long ago. One of my favorite contemporary artists, and this is a painting, I believe, of a sleepwalker or a woman walking in a dream or out of a dream. Um, okay. Uh, this is a painting by an artist whose name is Marlene Dumas, Dumas, um, born 1953, still alive. Uh, a very interesting artist. And this was one of the paintings that was in the show at the Marmottan Museum.
Mhm.
Um, this painting, also from that show, is by an artist named, I can't remember his first name now, but his last name is Carolus Duran, Carolus Duran, Duran, 1837 to 1917. Um, uh, Quite a good painter, somewhat academic, was slightly academic, but very rich in the feeling of paint and resolution of paint. And a number of these are of women and men sleeping. His paintings are usually small. I would imagine this painting is like 20 by 20 inches.
Mm.
Simon, do you know if he was the teacher of Robert Henri by any
No,
chance? That name sounds familiar, so.
oh, really? Robert Henri is American, no?
Uh,
Yes.
yes, I guess he is.
So I think that I would say I would doubt that, but maybe Robert Henri went to Paris to study and encountered this man. I'm not sure, but I think he's earlier.
I think you
But,
may be right.
but I'm not totally sure. I think he's earlier.
There,
Um,
there was
okay,
a connection, I'm sorry, there was a connection with Sargent and Carlos Duran.
yeah,
Oh, John Singer Sargent. Okay.
yeah, I could see that. I could see that.
Can
Um,
you can you define academic painting just briefly?
oh, Kathleen, nice to see you. And and Kathleen, I don't want to single you out or anything. But I had in my head to mention something to you, and it just occurs to me I should mention it. Is come when everyone's reading, it's interesting.
Oh, I couldn't get on. Like 20, 25 minutes I was trying to get on. I
Oh,
think it was
really? Really? I'm
the wrong
sorry.
site. I was here, I just couldn't get in.
Oh, I'm sorry. But you were able to use the recording then. You could hear the recording.
No,
You,
I couldn't get anyway, there are all kinds of problems, but one of them I kept coming up against said that the host is in another meeting, and I finally figured out that I guess I had the wrong website, not website, but whatever this is.
the link,
Anyway, I
the link,
tried.
the
Sorry.
link. But did you get the recording? The
You
next
mean for the first part of the
the next day I sent the recording. The
um
the recording of the class.
Mhm.
of the last class,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Right. Does it have the site number, what is this? The Zoom
Yeah. Yeah,
It
yeah.
has where I'm supposed to come for the next meeting?
No, I'll send it to you again. I'll send it to you again. Okay. After the class, I'll send it to you, or tomorrow morning. Um, okay. So,
Yes, Simon, I was wondering the same thing as Kathleen. What does that mean that you described him as slightly academic?
oh yes, yes. Sorry. Um, yeah. So I'm sorry. I got very involved. So, that's a good question. So academic would mean rule bound, rule bound. Uh, you learn a certain way of doing something uh, through school or
Mhm.
through a certain sequence of working,
Mhm.
sequence of putting the paint down, of working out the problem, and the rules are strong so that you adhere to those rules. And so academic maybe means you've learned the rules, you're following the rules, and um, you're creating something that looks good but is kind of following the rules. And so you could, if you looked at his work, you could see what I'm saying, but yet there's something beyond that. There's some extra personality that's coming through his use of paint. They're mysterious. There's something extra. So it may look rule bound, but it has something that sets it apart.
Mhm.
And that's about as best as I could explain. Does that make sense, Kathleen?
Yeah, I was just wondering what an example of a rule is, but if you don't have time for it, that's all right.
So academic is a pejorative word.
Right.
So, in other words, academic is a word that's used to put down a
Mm.
certain group of artists as
Right.
being conservative. Conservative. Okay. And it is uh, academic means related to an academy of rules and learning, adhering to an academy. Okay. So the word illustration is also a pejorative word.
Yeah.
And so both those words are not neutral words. They have a particular charge to them. And um, I don't know if I would call him academic, but I've seen descriptions of his work as somewhat academic. But in any case, it's good to know what it means. Um, I don't want to get sidetracked, so let me
Yeah.
just keep going. Um, so this is a painting by Gustave Courbet,
Mhm.
and I think this is a woman in a trance, a woman sleepwalking, a woman having a vision, a night vision. Gustave Courbet's dates are 1837 to 1917. Um, he is a very, very interesting painter. And if you don't know his work, you should look it up. Um, his painting is very sensual, and I mean really sensual, and at times quite erotic, beyond sensual. And he did some very large paintings and smaller works, uh, very highly individualistic as a person and as an artist. And um, if I had more pictures to show of Courbet, I've always thought of a kind of joke in my head that um, the Courbet paintings that I like the most shows that he has been influenced by Balthus.
Hmm.
And this, I think, is quite funny because Courbet
Mhm.
is well before Balthus, well before, like 100 years before, or almost 100 years before. But there is some connection between the two of them, and maybe next time I'll add add a picture or two which shows that. Um, okay. Um, so this painting is by George de la Tour, and again on the image of sleep. Um, so George de la Tour, I would think mid 1500s, maybe early 1600s, something like that. Um, so George, then DE, then LA, then capital TOUR. Um, he is very, very interesting, very abstract, and almost seems to not have a country that he comes from. In other words, outside of geography. Um, I don't know quite how he did these paintings. Um, did he paint them in the dark? Did he pose the people in the
Mm.
dark? How did he set these up? But if you look at a whole bunch of them together, they're unbelievably abstract. Um, and many show
Mm.
candles and images of children and people with candles in darkness. Um, Worth looking at, very much so. Okay, so the next one is Vermeer,
Mm.
and well, I don't have dates for Vermeer, but I would say 1600s. And I think this title has something to do with the maid sleeping, um, and therefore the theme. Um, Great sense of light in Vermeer, and great compositions. The light is the chief factor in his work.
It's incredible.
I like the idea of overlooking a scene like this.
Mm.
This one we've looked at before, but it seemed extremely pertinent. Um, um, a dreamlike scene. Um, I think this was the most singular image in the exhibit that I saw of Rousseau at the Barnes collection. I think it's completely stunning and very beautifully composed, very emblematic. Um, it's interesting that you would think that Rousseau, as a self-taught artist, would have difficulties with composition and being extremely graphic, but not at all. This is very sophisticated, and the moon, um, the the instrument, the colors, the visitation of the lion, the tail, the stars in the night. This is a good sized painting. I would say it's about 5 feet wide.
Mm.
Um, so this is a painting of Bosch, and I think this painting is located in Venice. I don't remember the name of this, but I don't know. I just think it's absolutely stunning. Uh,
Mm.
it's like a kind of vortex that's breathing everything down and through this whirlwind. Um, if it's not a dream image, it's a nightmare image. I mean, it's really amazing. Um, I don't know how you could think this stuff up. So it's really mind-boggling.
Mm.
Who did you say the artist is?
Bosch, 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 Hieronymus Bosch. This is the artist who did the Garden of Earthly Delights. And from the Garden of Earthly Delights, these two, which are sections of um, one of the panels, and I don't know. I would include this as dreams or nightmares or the other world, the netherworld. Um, Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Um, Mid 1400s, mid late 1400s. Is
Mm.
that unbelievable? Mid late 1400s.
Unbelievable.
Located in Madrid. This painting is worth the whole visit to Madrid. And in the same painting, another detail of the Garden of Earthly Delights. Um, Interesting use of musical instruments and musical notes and musical note taking. And um, uh, this crazy dice, this crazy area here, the musical instrument, this instrument with this creature here, all of these, this one, I don't know what this is. This is just crazy as anything. Another instrument here played by this deranged creature. Um, all of this coming out of this creature's mouth, um, teeming with amazing stuff. This is maybe 8 inches, 7, 8 inches, and the painting is maybe 15 feet wide by 80 inches, 85 inches high. Okay, so this artist I'd never heard of. His name is Ferdinand Pelez, Pelez, 1843 to 1913. Um, Spanish artist living in France, in Paris. Um, Very interesting painting. And whoever curated that show at the Marmottan Museum really did a interesting job in bringing in well-known, lesser-known artists with loyalties to the theme. the pose is very interesting, the mouth in particular. Um, this artist, also I'd never heard of, named Michael Ancher, Ancher, 1849 to 1927, Danish. Um, so you can imagine an exhibit with all of these sleep and dream images in a large space or a few rooms. I thought it seemed a fascinating idea. This is very unusual. This one is from that exhibit. This is a painting by Bellini, Giovanni Bellini, 1430 to 1516. Now, I'm not telling you the dates because I want you to memorize them, not at all. I just think to know approximately when they were done. But 1430, that is amazing, to 1516. This is an unusual central figure. I don't know much about the painting, but this central figure is very unusual.
Is it Socrates?
I don't know. I can't say. I really don't know. It could be.
I
Um,
thought maybe Noah,
I
'cause
think
his
no.
sons cover him.
Who said that? Who said that?
Wendy.
Well, I think you're right. I think it's Noah. Now that I recall. But what is interesting is the man in it, uh, who is Noah, I believe, has the pose which is usually the pose of a woman. The almost the exact pose is many times repeated of a female nude. Um, the line in his figure, the bottom line, which is goes like this,
Mhm.
is really striking. And even this line is very interesting. So
Mhm.
Bellini is Italian, I believe Northern Italian. This is very unusual for Bellini.
Yeah.
Um, I would, if I saw this, I wouldn't have guessed Bellini.
I think of him more as painting the Madonna and Jesus, and he uses this blue on the Madonna's robes or whatever. And I've seen Bellini blue,
Yeah,
in art supply
yeah,
places.
yeah, yeah, yeah. This is more rustic. It's in the brownish family. Um, uh, so this painting is by Monet, and it might even come from the Marmottan Museum's collection. And this is, to my eye, a surprise. I would not have thought Monet, but it fits into their theme. And I liked the images that Mark Rosenthal put down, and I just dragged them onto my desktop.
That's one of the best Monets I've ever seen.
This one?
Yeah.
Huh, huh,
I mean,
interesting.
muted colors and all, but it's
Yeah, no,
lively.
interesting. Yeah, yeah. It actually almost looks more like Manet than Monet.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely.
So, okay, this is by a very interesting Italian artist, Arturo Martini, Martini. So, I just realized I don't have his dates, but I would guess his dates are late 1800s, no, late 1900s to, no, late 1800s to like 1950. Um, Sculptor, very beautiful um, sculptures of women reclining, sleeping. This is just really very striking. I've seen one of these in person, and very, very good sculptor. Um, so this is Edvard Munch, and I don't have dates for him, but I would say um, late 1900s to like maybe 1940 or 1950, or mid 1800s to 1950. Um, this was in a number of recent exhibits of Munch, and I believe this is a self-portrait, and it is of the theme of being a sleepwalker. He's a very expressionistic painter, um, really fantastic, fantastic painter. Munch. Um, okay, so this one is by Felix Valaton, Vallaton, Valaton. And again, this theme of sleep, the female form, um, very romantic painter. Um, you should look up his work. He's a very interesting artist. Felix Valaton. Um, Now, I want to go like, say, another 5 minutes and then get some input from you. So, because I could really just keep going until 8:30, but I think mix it up a bit. Um, so this is by Goya. Goya's dates are 1746 to 1828. And there's a few Goyas in this selection. Um, he's very expressive, expressionistic painter. Hard to pin down. Some of his work, to use the word we used before, seems a bit academic, but a good deal of his work is buzzed out and really um, not rule bound, like beyond rules, surprising, unexpected. Um, this painting was in the exhibit at the Marmottan Museum, and it's a painting of Delacroix. So Delacroix um, mid 1800s. And I guess the reason for having this is that it's a painting of someone who had been sleeping or maybe dreaming, and it's the remnants of their encounter with the next world. It's very clever. This one I think I've shown you before, but it seems worth reproducing again. This is by Antonio Lopez Garcia. Um, so born in 1936, still alive and still painting. Um, One of my favorite contemporary artists, and very mysterious and enigmatic. Um,
Could you spell
so
the name, please?
it, Lopez, Lopez, and then his name is either listed as Antonio Lopez or Antonio Lopez Garcia. So Garcia would come after Lopez. It would be Garcia. Um, so Lopez's exploration of this world is um, eerie, unexpected, um, surreal, very figurative, but not academic at all. Um, this is a relief, uh, maybe about 3 or 4 inches thick. So where the sleepers are in here is a recessed portion, and this area here is recessed. And then some kind of dream is taking place. I think painting is owned by the Museum of Modern Art, and I went to see this painting once in the storage areas of the museum. I made an appointment and I went with two friends of mine, three friends of mine, and they had this out waiting for us. Um, this is another painting by Lopez Garcia or Lopez, Antonio Lopez. Um, and it also seems to me to connect with this theme. This woman looks like his wife, and this is the same deep passageway. And this looks like the room where the bed was before. Um, Very dark and brooding in the shadows. Really wonderful painting. Well, I think this might be a good point to end this section and then hear your response. So this is the third painting by Lopez, and um, so here you see the city of Madrid, a street scene in Madrid, and in the very front of the street scene is a couple making love. Um, this is such an interesting painting. It's so unexpected and yet entirely possible. Um, I like his work very much, and he went to art school at a very early age. Uh, so he went from a farming community to Madrid to study art, I think about the age of 13. And I've given some thought to this painting, and so he might have come to Madrid by train, and the train is pulling into Madrid and is going past um, empty lots with trees and foliage overgrown. And the train is whisking by these empty lots between buildings or um, in a desultory areas. And somewhere in the midst of those lots covered with foliage, perhaps Lopez saw something like this, and it stayed with him and came out in this painting. So let's go back to where you all are. Um, so we'll do part two next week, and I have a whole lot of pictures for part two. Um, any questions, responses, inputs, outputs? Um, love this, hate this, anything you feel like saying.
I'll start. Oh,
Len.
go ahead. Okay. So there's sleep and then there's dream. And these works stay on one side of it for me. Like I'm a huge fan of Magritte, for example, and Dali, and I think of those surrealists as being like in the dream, right? Those images are so, out there. So I'm trying to sort of place where that dreamscape, those surrealist images touch this, if at all.
Uh, I wouldn't be too strict about it. I would just include the whole thing. That's my take, honestly. I'm
Okay.
not trying to avoid your question.
Yeah.
I like including the whole thing.
Okay, we'll see where you go next week, I guess then.
Well, in other words, um, some of them are Greets, which look like a dreamscape to him, um, but based on reality, it could connect with Bosch, those crazy images that I showed, and could connect with those pieces by Lopez. And it, now that I've shown much crazier works, a dream play maybe would be a little quieter, but would be part of a dream landscape. My picture that I started with.
Mhm.
Okay, so I would blur the boundaries, but I did think of your question before you asked it, and I did think that that would be something to deal with, but I ended up thinking just put them all together. Just put them all together.
Fair enough.
Okay, but I did think of that. It's a good. Your point is good. Yeah, yeah. Uh, Charles, you had a question? Yeah.
Yeah, I had a question about the Lopez Garcia works. I think you said that they, in fact, were somewhat three-dimensional, that there was like almost 4 inch, maybe several inches between the deepest parts of the painting and the foreground.
I'm sorry, I wasn't clear enough. One of them is that it's
Yeah.
a it's a painted relief.
Mm.
It's a painted relief. The other two are paintings. but the one that's painted is with the child on the wall.
Yeah.
Okay, so um, there is a tradition in Spain of polychrome sculpture. It's usually connected with religious subjects and religious life. So it's kind of very, with very accurate colors, very strong coloring. So it seems to me that he took this tradition and of carving and used his painting instincts over that tradition and contemporary surrealism and um, dream imagery, and came out with something that's him. Um, I could talk a lot about him, but I want to get more people involved. But I'll hopefully I'll remember to mention one thing. Uh, John, you wanted to say something.
Um, no, I didn't raise my hand.
Oh, you didn't?
Uh,
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Someone else then.
I
Oh,
don't have any initial thoughts is what I'll say.
that's
Uh,
that. That's
having
fine.
spoken up here, so I'm still taking it in.
Yeah.
There's a lot to work with here, but I haven't landed anywhere yet.
Um, uh, Wendy, do you have something? Yeah, you just pass. Just, like if you feel like saying something, yeah,
Okay,
or or go on.
I'm trying to turn on my mic.
Very
I,
good.
I can hear you. I can
Oh,
hear
you
you.
can?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Um, just that so many of these, maybe I'm starting to dream a little in looking at all of these, that I think, um,
Oh, now you turned your mic off.
Um, Wendy? Oh,
I think she disappeared
oh,
entirely.
yeah.
There she is.
There you go. There you go.
am I heard as well?
Yes, both.
Okay, sorry about
Oh,
that.
now
Um,
you are.
the idea of painting different versions of the same people in one painting is really fascinating to me, and putting these places. Simon, you and I have a lot of places in common, which I'll tell you about sometime. But that is just very, I don't know, it resonates for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's good to not be alone. Uh, I will come back to you in a second, but I have to remember what I wanted to say about Lopez. Oh, yeah, there is something I wanted to say. Um, Alan, would you like to comment?
Mike.
You have to put the mic on.
Okay, there we go.
Okay. Okay.
All right, yeah, no, I think it's kind of an interesting concept. But I was wondering if that piece that you did of the woman kind of floating in space would be part of this, because I think that's what I think of, frankly, with this, when I, hear about or see what we're looking at today.
You mean the picture Purple Haze?
Yeah, well, she's floating in
Yeah,
space.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Um, yeah. I hope that'll be part of the next group.
Oh,
Um,
good.
yeah. Rita?
Well, I was thinking what Len brought up about Dali, and I feel like the surrealists, the absurdists, the people who congregated in that group with Dali, I think that they were trying to make a philosophical point, and that I always feel when I look at them that they're not just expressing a very personal view or dream, but that they're making a point about the absurdity of life or the surreal elements of life. Uh, Same with the novelists of that period. So it's a little more I don't want to use the word forced because it's a pejorative word, but I kind of feel that there's an underpinning that's more than just the creative spirit.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It, it's hard to pin it down, and I'm not even sure it's really worth it. It's like, why not just say the range is a great range, and on that range, you have this issue, this issue, this issue, and this issue. That's how it strikes me. Um, Kathy Furamasca.
Yeah, so very good. Um, yeah, I think that you've given us again so much to choose from, such a variety. So though I have a few favorites, I want to see what you have next week. And then, but there is so, I mean, you could do 5 essays from what you give us all the time.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, what's interesting here also is that this theme is very much connected with literature and poetry. It's a very big theme in writing. And there must be a certain narrative dimension to the visuals that allow it to enter this theme. In other words, it's a story, but I think the best is when the story isn't very clear, unclear at all. Um, Let me see. Anne Marie?
Um, yeah, I guess I was thinking of it too as I was expecting more to think about the unconsciousness or the dreamlike state that that I was kind of thinking about that as I was looking at these paintings. Um, yeah, but as you said, it can be many different things. You know, you brought up Hamlet, that it could be that when we, you know, it could be a death state once you close your eyes.
Yeah.
Or it can be you know, when you're unconscious, could be another reality, an unconscious connection.
It,
Um,
isn't it interesting that it keeps repeating amongst different artists, this same idea.
yeah.
And when I was putting this together, I realized that there's something axial in my work and in my inner world that relates to this because there were too many images that I had that could be included in this presentation.
Oh,
I was surprised.
yeah.
Anne,
Okay, so I could also probably talk about Antonio Lopez Garcia all night long. Love his work. And so the last picture that you showed, the last piece of the couple on the rooftop or with the city behind. I guess what I really liked about that from a more formal perspective is sort of the separation of the figure and the ground. The city is very neutral and seems kind of misty, um, as if maybe it's not really there. It's sort of in the haze, and then the thing that's really sharp and clear and very strong contrast are the figures in the foreground. And so you're not sure if you're, looking at, they don't necessarily go together in a formal way either. But your mind is left wondering if you're imagining the city or if you're imagining the figures, or they're both real, but maybe they're not in the same place.
very well said. Very well said.
I like that one.
So I think I'm going to leave you with this last comment about Lopez that I'm not really asking for an answer to what I'm saying, but this is something that I always wonder about. And I thought of it again tonight. So he comes to this Madrid um, from a farming community outside of in another part of Spain. I'm not sure how far it is from Madrid. His parents are farmers. Okay. Now, I find that extraordinary. Um, it, his work is, he's not a philosopher, he's not a writer, but his work is highly philosophical and highly full of ideas. But he comes from this farming community, and his work has a very strong existential overtone to it. Um, I always think, how does that happen? I mean, his work is the work of someone who lives in a city, is cosmopolitan. If you think about his work, or if you remember previous discussions of it, or if you just know his work is very cosmopolitan, very city oriented, very modernist, and experimental. But his whole family are farmers, and he was expected to be a farmer to follow in his family's line. I don't know. I think that's fascinating. Um, so I'm going to leave you with that fascinating piece of information, and I'm going to say we'll do part two um, next time. And uh, in the email I'm going to send, you should look for these quotes that I gave and information about your essay and whatever else I can come up with. But so try to look at what I send you. Um, okay. So I'll see. John,
Yes, one final question. The title, you mentioned it earlier, of the original piece, your painting that you
mine
showed,
a dream play.
a dream play.
Yeah, and I must say there was something I found surprising. I chose that title because it's the title of the Strindberg play
Strindberg.
and his epigraph. If you've seen, there's a movie by Bergman called Fanny and Alexander, and I've seen that movie a bunch of times, like 5 times. I've seen actually all his movies about 5 times. Um, and the movie is about a dramatic theater group. That's what they do. They put on plays. That's what that family does. They run a theater, they put on plays. The beginning of the movie, if I remember right, is they're starting to rehearse a play. And um, the end of the movie, they continue to rehearse this play. And I'm almost sure I remember that they read, or someone reads, that epigraph. And I found it very spooky because as many times as I'd seen the film, I didn't remember that. And I did the drawing, but I had no knowledge of that. It's a terrific film. Um, that's good for tonight. Very good. I'll see you next week. Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
Night.
Bye.
Good
Bye.
night.
Good night.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Very enjoyable. Very enjoyable.
Look forward to your email.
Okay. Thanks. Thanks. Send my regards to Antonella.
I sure will.
Thanks, Kathy.
Bye, guys.
You can write eight essays, Kathy.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Nice seeing you. Nice seeing you.
Simon, one quick thing.
Yeah.
What is the medium that you used on your drawing?
Um, Conte crayon, pencil, colored pencil, and pastel.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Take
Have a
care.
good week. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Bye.